We're in section 3.3.3, the related Sage code. And what we're looking at is a code and seeing how it pertains to the problem set that was just presented to you. So let me get my terminal opening, and I'll type the commands in, and then we'll look back over the notes, see how this applies to what we've done here. So x is a variable. Again, I'm just typing in, whoops, made a mistake already. I'll look back over what I'm typing, by the way. And then I'll say solve. And what I'm going to solve, I'm going to solve the square root, SQRT. This is an equation. It looks like 4/3. 4 divided by 3 times x, 4/3 of an x plus 1. And this looks like an inequality. All right, so I'm going to pull it over here. I'm going to pull this up. And it looks like it's less than. ABS stands for absolute value, the absolute value of x minus 2. And subtract 1 from that. And then what do you get over here? They want to solve for the variable x. Let's see what happens. And it seems to have some issues with this, but it does say something. Now, let me just see what the deal is over here. So, kind of reading through it, it says solving a rational inequality. Wow, this looks kind of crazy looking, doesn't it? Let's see if we typed it in wrong. Square root 4/3 x plus 1 less than the absolute value of x minus 2. Let's try a simpler problem. Let's see, solve. Let's do, 4/3, 4 divided by 3 star x plus 1. I'm not going to use the square root or the absolute value. Let's say, x minus 2. And I'll solve that for x and see how it does there. Well, that's something more than I expected. I expected an answer like that. Let's even try a more complicated one. Solve, x squared. Let's see, minus 9 greater than or equal to 0. Let's see what it does there. Whoops, solve for x, right? Okay, so kind of what I'm expecting, right? I'm glad to see that. So I'm starting to realize that maybe I don't have the full appreciation of the solve command, or maybe there's another routine that allowed me to solve something that involves a square root and absolute value. But you know what? Maybe I don't have time to look into that, and I want to just simply plot it and see what happens over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plot, and I'm going to be plotting two functions, by the way. And I'll tell you what, there's going to be a list of them. And one function I want to plot out is the left-hand side. I'm going to do a copy-paste now. And I want to plot the right-hand side. All right, and the right-hand side is this thing over here. I'm just doing a copy-paste. And that's the end of my list. All right, so what am I going to do? I'm going to plot it, see what happens. And I'm not seeing the complete picture. All right, so what I want to do is I want to close that out. I'm going to clear my screen. Whoops, sorry about that. And what I want to do is I want to get a better viewing window on this one. I'm going to say x min. We've been doing this for some time now. Is minus 2. And the maximum, x max, is going to be equal to 8. Again, this may be of no help to you, but now I got a better looking graph. All right? So I want to point out the original problem that I was trying to do. Let me go back to that. I was trying to solve when the square root function is less than the absolute value function. All right? So, kind of looking at it, I'm looking at it over here. I know it's less than over here, and it's also over there. So I'm going to say looking at that, making a stab at it. I know it might be tough to figure out what this number is over here, but not really. I mean, it's the argument of the root function, and so it's going to be what? Minus 1, minus 3/4. All right, minus 3/4. That's about right. Minus 3/4 up to 0. And then it looks like over here, it might be more difficult to do that, but it looks like, 6 forward. All right, so I have a feel for it. But again, remember how we did this. What do? We went back here. I know it was tough. I did do the graph, by the way. And this is the problem that we're talking about right over here. All right, so I hope you remember what I said before and looked at my graph. And I understand it's a better looking graph, by the way. Minus 3/4 to 0. That's this loop over here. And then 6 to infinity. All right, 6 to infinity. All right, so we did that, and we did it by graphing. All right, And I'll tell you why we did it by graphing. This inequality, I'm not saying it's difficult to do otherwise, but it's so much easier to visualize what an answer is, right, if you can. And it's really not bad to visualize. And we did that using Sage as well, all right? Hopefully this has been helpful. Thank you for paying attention.